end of the third quarter. I don't know if you caught Cavs magic, but there was a call in the second quarter of that I disagreed with as well. My goodness gracious.
Wow.
Wolves Suns, I don't know, a second.
You didn't think Sixers, we'll get to it later, you didn't think Sixers Knicks had a controversial ending?
Sure.
Okay.
Do I think LeBron, do I remember another time in the history of, and tell me if I'm wrong, Brew, because you're encyclopedic, of a star player talking about the refereeing in another game after losing a buzzer beater? I do not remember that.
Well, I think
that is
I think that's it. You can't remember star players talking about holistic issues of the league.
The
like
game game before them, when they're locked in a do-or-die game and they're complaining about the referees in the previous game. I don't remember that. And I think it's strange.
Hold on. You think he saw that before the Lakers game? Of course not.
Didn't he say he saw it before he watched it before the game?
He walked out? The game ends. He's in the line. They're on the court warming up when Sixers Knicks ends. Just to be clear, the way this worked was his game ended. He's changing. They're bitching about the refs in there, and someone in the locker room's like, "Hey, and you see what happened in Philly?" And they look at that.
I thought he saw it beforehand.
No, I mean he saw it before the press conference. But I mean, but go just for context on what happened there. But go ahead.
What's the question?
Surprised LeBron is upset with the referees.
Well, look, when you just look at that quote, it looks like he's definitely blaming the refs. When you watch the whole press conference, the first 3.5 minutes of a 4.5 minute, 5 minute press conference, he was he was sober-minded about it. Like, hey, we missed some shots, we got some looks, we just missed them. My shot rimmed them in and out. Like, I didn't think he wasn't blaming the refs for most of the press conference. This, I'm not sure if he's blaming the refs. The D-Lo thing, I mean, that happened at the end of the third quarter. Again, you're still up 10 at that point. That certainly wasn't the reason you won. There's no need to bring up Philly. And I think LeBron did it unsolicited. That wasn't the question. He even acknowledged that. I think he was trying to send a message. Nobody's voice is as loud as LeBron's in the league office. He's trying to send a message. Hold on. He's trying to send a message to for the next game.
That what?
Now what?
They want more calls?
Well, he wants more calls. Now, no, I'm not saying that's what he's doing. But here's the thing.
Do you know
it's not a good look. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. Except that they just got
the free throw disparity.
Okay,
this graphic nonsense.
No, well,
free throw disparity.
We've seen this before. It's Phil Jackson, Jeff. This is what you do.
This is a normal graphic. I know it's the style of play in LeBron.
So again, So this is the problem. I think. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Oh, that's a wow.
That's the last 2 seasons. So let's just
they
be
are like
clear.
3 times.
The difference between number 2, 3, 4, 5 is all within 80 free throws. And the Lakers are 700 above. And he has to send a message that they need more.
So let me.
Here's what he's trying to do. I didn't know this graphic.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
bro.
that's because you don't spend as much time on social media as Wilds. And this was a very popular bar graph from 2 weeks ago that everybody fell in love with. So let's actually do the real data on it.
Sure.
Last year, the Lakers had a almost historic free throw edge last season.
Okay.
I don't know how much that impacts this year. This year, do the Lakers shoot the most free throws per game of any team in the league? No. This year, do the Lakers get called for the fewest fouls of any team in the league? No. It's actually Orlando gets the most free throws, Boston fouls the least. The Lakers are second in both categories, right? The second most, second least. LeBron personally, 60 guys in the league that drive to the basket as much as he does, at least 10 drives per game. Where do you think he ranks in free throw attempts? The answer is right in the middle, 25th. So does he think, there are 2 things going on here, okay? One, I know, and I never talk about this on the air, but I told it to you before the show, so I will. I know from a personal conversation with LeBron, the replay the existence of instant replay has been maddening to this player since Game 1, 2018. And we don't have to go through all of it, Brew, but if you remember, the Cavs are up 2, he gets a charge on Durant, and they review it to see if he's in the restricted area.
Right.
He was not in the restricted area, but because they reviewed that, everything becomes reviewable. They're like, you weren't in the restricted area, but we're still flipping it from charge to block. Right or wrong, from that moment forward, the replay has been an issue, okay? I also think, and I think the table will agree, the D'Angelo thing was an odd overturn. That was an odd overturn. What he didn't talk about there which would have been blaming the refs, but I also think would have been more fair, is the non-replay missed call on his and one after he got called. We can show you the video. And he wanted Ham to review it. Well, this is the one where he's furious because he gets hit in the head, and I hope we have the replay where you can see it. This is to go up 2 points. Okay, we don't have the right angle, but you see it. Jamal Murray comes over and hits him in the head. And it was right after he got called for a foul on Jamal. But that Reggie was saying you can't call in the playoffs with a minute left, and he was this one right there.
Yeah.
And he was asking Darvin to review it, and for some reason Darvin didn't. So if we want to say the Lakers get a friendly whistle because of how great of a whistle they got in the 2023 season, so be it. But LeBron does not. There is no data that supports that LeBron does.
Okay, so Lakers as a team, I don't know what I'm going to say. I just pulled up a graphic, and it said one team is plus 1,100, and the other teams are plus 379.
Yes, but let me ask you.
They get the friendly. They have
I don't think. Do you think they get a bad whistle?
No,
I don't think they're getting a bad whistle in this series. I think LeBron's trying to send a message. I don't blame him for that, but I don't think he's getting.
What I think is this, and this is the problem that I have with that stat going viral the way it did, and next year, if the Lakers get a slightly negative whistle, that graphic will still be there.
Sure.
Because it was such a discrepancy a year ago. That, to me, does not have any relevance to how these playoff games are called. It doesn't. It does not have any relevance to whether or not LeBron should be annoyed. And by the way, I gave 3 reasons why the Lakers lost. I didn't include the refs. You guys know from when the Chiefs were losing games and the whole world was blaming the refs. I don't typically believe in blaming the refs.
Well, that's not true because Nick Wright definitely blamed the refs and said that one call for the offsides was like never called ever. And it was. But that's not besides the point. Also, this is a perfect example how stats can be cooked. How you can see that. Because what Nick Wright what he is saying with regards to the stats is 100% accurate. But he doesn't typically apply that same logic when he's trying to talk about other arguments, especially specifically within football. We'll cast that aside for now. Try to remember that moving forward. But here's the thing. So Brew is saying that they get a friendly whistle, but LeBron is still going to try to send a message because he's going to do what he can. That's what Phil Jackson did. That's what all these other, successful coaches, players, and whatnot have done, right? You're just always putting that pressure on the refs, even if it's because they're getting the short end of the stick or not. It's just to kind of keep, putting that pressure. That's what Brew is kind of saying that LeBron is doing. Now, I think there is some truth to that, but as I've said in the previous video, both things can be true in terms of the team lost the game, but the refs also contributed to it. It's okay to say that. It's okay to accept that as a truth, because then they're saying, well, why did LeBron even mention the Sixers game? Because it was also egregious what happened in the Sixers game. It was terrible with the officiating. And so if LeBron James, the LeBron James, is making that statement, don't you think it's worth listening to? Don't you think it should hold some weight? If one of the best players, potentially the best player in the history of the NBA, makes a statement like that of like, what are we doing with this replay? What is actually happening? Why do we even have a replay center if it's not even doing its job? Like, don't you think we should listen to that? LeBron James is not some scrub. I know everyone wants to call him like a crybaby and how he loves to deflect. Those things can be true too, but it doesn't make him wrong about this specific thing, about this specific incident. Because we know players all over the league are upset, quite honestly. And I don't think that LeBron was using this as a way to deflect why he lost. Because early in the press conference, right, he did kind of take responsibility. But then he said this, and he was obviously upset, and then he left. After that, he said that he just got up and walked away. He was clearly furious with the refs. So LeBron doesn't deflect blame in that regard. Like, really, ever. He's never done, kind of played this whole game? Sure. Has he done the count and mask game of saying, I'm going to retire and things of that nature? Yes. And I've called him out for that. But that's something different. That was at the end of the series. He just got swept. He gave his thoughts to the media and left it at that. This was something different. This is in the middle of a series. He's like, this was awful. Look what also happened in the Sixers-Knicks game. What are we doing here? I think for us just to completely ignore those statements by LeBron, or just automatically say he's making excuses, this or that, even though that's not really the true, legitimate history of LeBron James, we would be silly to ignore it. And I used this example in another video, especially when I was talking about with Colin Cowherd and the Herd. Years ago, Tom Brady tweeted out that, what's going on with the refs, with these plays, with these penalties, this is awful. And everybody was like, we should listen to Tom Brady because Tom Brady is the Tom Brady. Don't you think, we should listen to Tom Brady? And everybody, no one was saying that Tom Brady was making excuses. Tom Brady was like, this is absurd. What is going on? And yet now when LeBron makes a statement like this, it's everyone's natural instincts to just come down on him. And so it just doesn't make sense to me. Because which is it? Is LeBron James a basketball savant and knows everything that when it comes to basketball, he's one of the biggest geniuses to ever play the game of basketball? Or is he not? Because again, this to me, I try to call it as I see it. I do not just bash LeBron 24/7 because this is a perfect time for me to bash LeBron. Just a few videos ago, I was talking about LeBron James and they're not good enough. And the only reason why we're talking about them is because it's LeBron James and yada, yada, yada. They have no chance of beating the Nuggets. I was railing on them. And this would be the perfect time for me to rail on him some more. And say, this is LeBron just trying to deflect and make excuses. This is ridiculous. Michael Jordan would never do that. So I hope at the very least this highlights how I really try to look at things individually from moment to moment and not biasly. That I will defend a player when I think they need to be defended, or I will call them out when I think they need to be called out. I always will share the view what I think is ultimately right. Even if it goes against my initial beliefs or it goes against a player that I don't really like, whatever. And I don't not like LeBron. I'm not a LeBron mega fan. I mean, I'm very happy LeBron has been playing in our league for all these years because it's absolutely awesome. But I'm definitely not, my Twitter handle isn't LeBron Superfan 274, LeBron Muse, or whatever the heck those, Twitter names are these days. So the GOAT, but to me, when LeBron makes a statement like this, it's worth listening to. And for all of you guys out there that just immediately just dismisses it, I don't know why you would be so quick to think that you know or have a better read than LeBron James. And if you think that this is just him deflecting more, I'm open to that. And I think that there's some of that could be true. It just seems like he was genuinely heated. Genuinely frustrated, calling out the Sixers-Knicks game, calling out his own game, getting up and just being like, I just don't even know what to say. And then he just left. Like he was genuinely just like, I'm at a loss for words at this point because this is just absurd. I think we would be smart to listen to that and kind of think about it and reflect on it more. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Are you surprised that LeBron is blaming the refs in this instance, as well as his comments towards the Sixers-Knicks game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.